the metaphor that I would use is, as we've been talking about with fuel sources, is that your body can either burn sugar or fat, as we keep talking about. And what's going on is your legs to calling down for sugar whenever they want it. And of course, that is what they need. But what's going on is that your body is going to become better and better and better at converting fat to sugar. So that when you eat dietary fat, it will, but you see there's a time lag, right? See, most people eat for today's energy. Oh, I'm low on energy, I have to eat. That's a fallacy. Anytime that we're eating for today's energy, it's a fallacy. It means that we're eating sugar because the sugar is giving us quick energy. What really is going on when we eat today is we're eating for next week's energy. And so what that means is that as we are making this change, is that your body is going to go through this period of time where it's like, what's going on? I'm used to you giving me the hot, fast fuel immediately, and I don't understand. And so there are some things like one of the things you've been doing that's actually really helpful is pushing yourself by walking huge distances, because you're making big energy demands on your legs, and your legs are going to start pulling and pulling and pulling for energy. And eventually your body is going to go, all right, fine, I am properly a fat burner at this point. There's some other things you can do is, like going for light jogs or light workouts, only aerobic. The minute you try to pull anaerobic, the problem is anaerobic exercise is the call for sugar. The whole point of sugar burning is anaerobic exercise. So what that means is that the minute we go into sprints, the minute we go into heavy lifting, the minute we go into the point where we can't breathe properly, like where you're out of breath, that's when the body is supposed to be calling for huge amounts of sugar, burning the sugar quickly. And so if you think of this in terms of, say, marathon running, as I've described before, marathon running is a fat burning exercise. Anytime somebody tries to run a marathon on sugar, after the 17th mile, they're toast. They're done. They hit the wall. They can't go any further. It's really tough. Of course, they can train and train and train and somehow like force themselves through the wall. But then, of course, their recovery is really difficult. On the other hand, if somebody gets into fat burning, they can run 2 or 3 marathons in a row. But if they sprint at the finish line, it's at that point the body will go, oh, now you want me to burn blood sugar. The blood sugar sits there ready for emergencies, right? And that's what it's there for. So right now, to convince your body to really be a fat burning body, then what you do is avoid anything that is causing immediate stress to blood sugar. So long walks, light jogs, those kind of things will really help that metabolism come. I'd be very surprised if you still felt that way in another week. I would say that likely at some point as you go through this week, that will shift. It's kind of a funny thing. If you can't really blame him for thinking that. There's a few reasons he does. One is that the bread and cereal manufacturers did a really good job of telling everybody they needed carbohydrates. So it became, the 4 food groups and then the pyramid, and they built it in so that people felt they needed it. And then there's also this anecdotal evidence, because if you eat carbohydrates, your energy goes up in the short window. So it's like proof. Look, you're running the marathon, you're feeling a little low, eat some of these candies, you feel better, right? And so there's proof, and that's why it's this old paradigm is still existing. But all over endurance sports, people are coming to the truth. The carbohydrates are it's not that carbohydrate loading is bad for endurance sports, it's the timing. So for example, when I know that when I'm getting ready to climb Kilimanjaro, or if I was going to go out and run a marathon, I would load up on carbs up until a week before. I would only load up on the healthiest possible carbs. I would be eating fruit, and I'd be eating root vegetables and that kind of stuff. But I would only do that for maybe a week or two before, like say a week before. Then I would switch, and I would switch into fat burning at that stage. And then I'd have the endurance for the run. What I'm basically saying is that I might eat lots of carbs for a week or two in preparation to put on a little bit of subcutaneous fat and maybe some. But then a week before I would switch over, and so by the time I ran the marathon or did the sport, I'd be fine. So he's not wrong. He's just got the timing wrong, and also probably he's got the carbs wrong, because he's thinking that pasta is a good carb and bread's a good carb and all. No.